Hey everybody. Hey, I wanted to hop on here. I made a video a couple days ago about like kind of the importance of starting your own business, and I just kind of wanted to extrapolate a little bit on that. The reason being is for somebody who's never started their own business before, it can be you don't know what to do. Like, we learn by seeing and experiencing maybe other people doing something. We learn by example, and then when we do it ourselves, then we kind of get the picture of it. So all we've ever really learned, and I'm speaking generally speaking here, most of us go to school. We learn that you're supposed to go from grade to grade to grade, then you go to college, and then you got to go find a job, and then start digging yourself out of debt from all the college you got into. So it kind of reminds me of like when I'm younger. People would always ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up? I'm like, who the hell knows what you want to be when you grow up? Like, I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. But, most people would answer that. Most kids or young adults would say, I want to be a police officer or a firefighter or a teacher or a doctor or a lawyer, kind of the generic examples. And those are really fine jobs. But nobody ever says, hey, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be a real estate investor. I want to be a coach. I want to sell digital products online. I want to not work for somebody else. I want to work for myself, so we don't ever think that that's a possibility. And we see people, like, you'll see somebody on a video, telling you about some cool shit that they're doing, and you just think that there's no way that you can do it because you've just never had had anybody shown it to you or whatnot. So that's my what my message is today. So I'm going to try to sell you on the idea that you can be your own boss, create your own business, work for yourselves, essentially. So, full disclaimer, if you've never done this before, started a business, you don't want to just start a business and quit your job, because you'll probably fail because you don't have any idea of how to run your own business. But I just want to explain what a business is. So all a business is providing service to somebody in exchange for money. So we're all doing that now with our jobs. Well, not me, because I don't have a job, but most people are doing that with their jobs already, and they just don't understand how they can transition from their job to owning their own business. You can do it in a bunch of different ways. So case in point, I got a buddy. His name's Steve. Steve's a great guy, hard worker. Steve, out of the goodness of his heart, hopped on Facebook Messenger one day and said, hey, if anybody needs a handyman, I'd be happy to help you out. If you need a flat screen TV mounted, if you want a deck built, if you just need some light bulbs changed, anything in between, Steve will come do that. So Steve started a business, really started a side hustle, because it's not a business until you incorporate. So all incorporating is just going on your website of your government. Steve lives in Missouri, so you go on missouri.gov, and he'll say, I want to start an LLC, and here's the name, here's who I am, I'm the owner. And then you pay a little filing fee, and then the state of Missouri will give you some paperwork back saying that you are now a business, and here's your EIN. Once again, an EIN is an employee identification number. So you need this EIN so you can start paying taxes. Now, some of you guys are going to watch this and go, why the hell would I want to pay taxes on my side hustle? Well, for a couple different reasons. For one, it's your duty as a United States citizen to pay your taxes. And here's why taxes are good. We always think taxes are a bad thing. But taxes are good. So if your house catches on fire, God forbid, they're going to send a team of trained professionals to come put that fire out for you, and they're going to risk their lives to do it. And at the end of it, you're not going to get a bill. If you are out of town and your wife calls and says, honey, there's somebody broke into the house, she can call 911, and they're going to say trained police officers are going to risk their lives to come save your wife and your personal property. So that's what your taxes pay for. So avoiding taxes is never a good thing. People think it is, but it's really not. So back to my message with Steve. If Steve incorporates his handyman business, he now is going to pay taxes, but he's going to get a lot of benefits from the government. So for one, Steve is going to have a lot of tools that he needs for his business, handyman business. So anytime he goes to Home Depot and he buys some drills, he buys any kind of supplies, tools, that's going to come off of his gross income. It's going to be tax deductible. So Steve needs, for this handyman business, he's going to need his cell phone. So when he goes to Verizon and buys a brand new iPhone, well, guess what? Now that iPhone is a tax deduction, and it comes off his gross income. When Steve pays that cell phone bill every month that he uses to communicate with his people with his handyman job, that cell phone bill is now a tax write-off. When Steve has a little home office to contact his customers and make little Facebook posts, now he's got a home office he's operating out of. So he gets home office deduction. It can be as much as $1,500 back on your taxes. And then what else do you need for home office? Any office at all has electricity, water, gas, sewer. So even though Steve's operating out of his house, because he's incorporated and he has a legitimized business, all of those utilities that Steve pays all year long, a portion of that is tax deductible, and he'll get that back. Now, what do I mean tax deductible? So Steve's still got his normal job because Steve isn't a business owner yet. He's just got a side hustle. But once he incorporates, he is a business owner. And so Steve will get a tax return from his W-2 job. Well, because he's incorporated his side hustle and he's now a legitimate business and he's paying taxes and he's reporting to the government, any losses that he would incur, he would now get a bigger tax return back from his W-2s. Okay, so this is really important that if you want to start a side hustle, you need to do it legally by incorporating. And all incorporating is going online, saying, I'm so-and-so, I want to do a business, here's the name, and you get a tax ID number. And then you pay your taxes to the state and the government, but you get a lot of benefits for it. So I'm going to give you another case in point. Like, people go, well, that's great, Steve's a handyman, but what can I do? All I do is I'm a receptionist. I answer phones. So I'm going to give you another example of how somebody who's just a receptionist answering phones could potentially start their own job and make thousands and thousands and thousands of extra dollars and get huge tax write-offs and benefits in return. Okay, I got another friend called me yesterday. I won't say her name. We'll just call her Jay. So Jay is in a tough spot. Jay's got a young child at home, so she can't leave to go to work, because if she leaves to go to work, she's going to have to put that young child in daycare, and now she's got a young child that somebody else is raising. You know, and you don't know what people are doing to your kids when they can't talk. You know what I'm saying? So it's good for the mother to stay at home with the child, or the father for that matter. So she's at home. She's doing a call job, you know, like she's doing a sales job for a company, work from home. So she told me she was making like $14 an hour. So because she's a W-2 employee, she has a job. She's the most highly taxed person in the world. This is a young mom who's struggling, is more highly taxed than Jeff Bezos. Okay, because the system's set up like that. If you're a W-2 employee, your human resource department is taking that tax out. So she makes $14 an hour supposedly, but on paper, after taxes, she only makes $9 an hour. That's her take-home pay. You can't survive on $9 an hour. You know, you can't even go to McDonald's and get a value meal. Not that you should go there, because that shit causes cancer. Don't eat that food. So, but that's another video for another day. So what can she do? She's got a 2-year-old child. So she's usually going to try to find a job where she gets paid the most money per hour. But when you start your own business, you'll start looking at things differently. You don't want to look at things like hours, dollar per hour. You want to collapse time and make 10 times that an hour, so to speak. So how do you do that? Okay, so this girl's got a young child at home she's got to take care of. If I was in her position, and this isn't telling her directly, this is just generically, if I was in the position where I was a single parent and I couldn't leave my house because my child was very small, I would start a home daycare business. Okay, well, what do you do there? So I would get, say, 5 people. I'd just go online and say, hey, friends, family who needs daycare. You know, I would look for children around my child's age, you know, prior to school age, because those are the people that need daycare. And let's say you're going to charge $10 an hour for daycare. And let's say that you get 5 kids, so that's $50 an hour that you're going to make, right? 5 kids. So if you're already watching your kid, watching 5 more kids isn't, I'm going to say this loosely, isn't that big of a deal. I know it's a lot of work. But you can take a living room, you can grid it off with a playpen, you can have your home office right there while you work a normal job, or that could be your job daycare, and you can watch your kid and 5 kids, and you make $50 an hour doing it. Now, let's say most parents work 8 hours. They got an hour drive time in the morning, hour drive time at night. So you're going to watch 5 kids for 10 hours a day. So you're going to make $500 a day doing nothing but babysitting 5 extra kids. So $500 a day times 5 days a week is $2,500 per week times 4 weeks in the month. You just made $10,000 in a month. Times 12 months, you're making $120,000 babysitting 5 kids a day. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of scratch, and you don't even have to leave your house. Now, here's where most people have a downfall. Somebody that wants to do a home daycare business, they won't do it legitimate. They'll just get their friends and family or whoever, they'll attract the clients, and they'll get paid under the table, and they won't pay taxes. That's illegal. You don't want to do that. Now, you open yourself up to other things, but when you incorporate, when you go online and say, I'm going to turn this into a legitimate business, now you can do other things. So your home daycare business, now you can form an LLC, limited liability corporation. So if something were to happen, if one of those children were to get hurt, God forbid, you're not going to get sued. Your business will, because the parents have hired the business, which is owned by you. So it's a nice little buffer in between you and some liability. Now, once you have an LLC, you can call an insurance agent and you can buy insurance for that business. So if one of those children were to get hurt and you were to get sued, the business will get sued. The business is fully insured. So now you don't have to worry about losing your house and everything you own and getting so far into debt because somebody's going to sue you, they'll never climb back out of it. That's how a lot of people get screwed around when they open their own businesses, because they don't do it legit. They don't open up an LLC. They don't incorporate. They don't pay their taxes, and therefore they can't get insurance for that business. And if something goes wrong, they're on the hook personally. And then when the IRS finds out you're running a side hustle and you're not paying taxes, there's a whole bunch of other legal ramifications. The most extreme is jail, but less than that, you're going to be on the hook for all your back taxes, all your fines and fees, and they charge you interest. So it's better to just be legitimate right from the get-go. Okay, so you can start a business without quitting your job, and if you've never done a business before, I would highly recommend you don't quit your job. So you can turn anything into a business. All a business is providing service of some sort for pay, and everybody does that already, you know, or you're homeless on the street. You know what I'm saying? So if you're working, start a side hustle. And a side hustle can be, I'll give you an example of one thing you can do really easy. So let's say you're a plumber and you plumb all day, and is that a word, plumb? Anyways, you plumb all day, but guess what? When your mom or dad or your neighbors or your friends have a clog in their house, you're probably going to go over there after hours and unclog it for them. And maybe you charge them something, maybe you don't. Maybe they take you out to dinner or something like that. But you can get really good at working nights and weekends doing what you're already doing now, just for yourself and for your friends, family, word of mouth. So that'll get you experience of owning a business, because when you're a business owner, you're probably going to start out by yourself. You're not going to have a team. You're not going to have a whole crew. So like, you're going to be the face of the company. You're going to be the person performing the service. You're going to be the HR department. You're going to be the secretary. You're going to be the bookkeeper, all that kind of shit. And that all sounds scary, but trust me, there's really simple apps nowadays that don't cost a lot. I've got one app, it's $150 a year, and it does all my bookkeeping. And I essentially just send that to my tax guy. So don't get bogged down in all the little details and little nuances of owning a business. The important thing is you start. And all you got to do is go on your state's home website, .gov, and say, I want to start an LLC, limited liability corporation. Now, there's other businesses you can start. You can start an S Corp. You can start a partnership. You can do all this kind of stuff. You should probably just do a little research, talk to your tax guy. But an LLC, limited liability corporation, is the easiest thing you can start, to where you can start operating legitimately, paying taxes. You can get insurance. You can do all these things. And now anything you use for that business is now tax write-off. So that plumber who's working for a plumbing company during the day, but then doing plumbing on the side at night, if he incorporates an LLC, or she, now his cell phone's a tax write-off. The vehicle he's using, she or she, is using to go do these jobs at night and on the weekends, becomes a tax write-off. The fuel, like I said, you can claim a home office deduction. You can claim a portion of your utilities. And I'm not a tax guy, so please don't take this as tax advice. This is just kind of like a rough idea of what you can do when you own a business. But it's really important that you start. So when you own a business, you can, like I said, you can collapse time, because at your job you're working, You're trading an hour block of your life for a certain dollar amount. But when you own your own business, you're trading a service for a dollar amount. So in the case of the plumber, the plumbing company might charge $100 an hour to the customer. The plumber gets $30. Well, if you're the plumbing company, you can charge the customer $85 an hour and keep all the money for yourself. So it's just it's a better way where you can collapse time, stop trading your time for money, and you can just start trading your service for money. And anybody can do this. You can turn a business into anything. Like, you can open up an Etsy account and sell t-shirts and bumper stickers and mugs and shit like that. But it's important that you incorporate and turn it into a legitimized business, because when you turn it into a legit business, you're now a taxpayer and you have rights, and then you can get a lot of different benefits from the government when you legitimize it, because the government wants you to start your own business. They don't want you to live off somebody else all the time. So here's my final thing on starting a business. Here's why it should be important, why you don't have to quit your job to start a business, but you should start a business. My personal example, during COVID, the company that I worked for, I quit my job in 2019. It was a hail repair business, okay? So I quit my job and I went on my own. 6 months later, COVID hit. All right. So everybody, all my colleagues at this past business, like, I don't know the exact number, but like 70 or 80% of the staff was furloughed. Now what that means is your company says, hey, we're sending you home. We're not going to pay you. You're not fired, so you're not going to collect unemployment. We're just going to suspend you indefinitely. All right, that's like a shitty way to do things, right? So now you're at home furloughed, going, oh my God, I'm not getting paid. And this was a commission job, so if you didn't work, you didn't get paid. So all these people got furloughed. I had started my own business. I had 2 employees. The government gave me a COVID loan. I got $5,000 for each employee, so the government gave me $10,000. And then 6 months later or a year later, they forgave the loan. So I got $10,000 for free during COVID because I owned a business. And not because I'm special or anything like that, or I've got this huge corporation. I literally had a piece of paper that says I'm a business owner, and I was conducting business, because you have to perform some sort of service. You can't just start a business and say, and not do shit, right? You need to perform some sort of service. But it could be anything. It could be something you like. If you like creating dog collars, start a dog collar business, but incorporate, get that LLC, start paying taxes legally, and then you get a lot of benefits that the normal person does not get. So I'm going to end this here. If anybody's got any questions about starting businesses, my last video I had quite a few people contact me and ask me some questions. Be happy to answer any questions you might have if you're curious about starting your own business or turning your side hustle into a legitimate business, which I highly recommend you do, because you should pay your taxes, because it's your duty as a United States citizen to pay your taxes. And as a taxpayer, you get a lot of benefits. So I'll leave that there. If you got any questions, just hit me up. Shoot me a private message or whatever you want to do. But get out and start that business. And my buddy Mike, I mentioned him on the last video. He's a powder coater. He's fantastic. But he hasn't incorporated yet. Mike, this video's for you again, my friend. You need to get that incorporation. See you guys. Have a great day.